Everybody, I'm John Morris, president of CBI. Thank you very much for joining us today as we're going to talk about the upcoming convention, but especially the app that we're going to be using. Of course, the convention is online October 28th to 30th. You soon will be able to see the schedule that we have assembled, and I think it's just an absolutely outstanding opportunity for us and for our students. So, be sure to get your registration in before all of that happens. I'm not the one presenting today because I frankly at this point can't understand what is happening in the app. So I'm going to be listening for information along with the rest of you. And Stephen Hames, our secretary for CBI, has been instrumental. He's the one who's taken the lead on putting the app together, making it work. And of course, Jessica's the one who has worked on the schedule, and it's fantastic. So Stephen, I'm gonna mute myself in a moment. I'm gonna turn it over to you and let you take everything. Again, thanks for everything you've done to put this together.
Well, that's a build-up. I don't know if I can live up to this here. So this is asking a lot, man. Excuse me. Okay, we're good. So yeah, we're going to be working with the Attendify app. For those of you who were at the conventions last year in St. Louis and the year previously in Seattle, it's the same app that we used for our programming. So you look at the sessions, see what sessions, bookmark, and schedule. But now it has a desktop virtual platform for us to look at and enjoy and be able to proceed with our virtual convention. So with that, I am going to pull up the app so that you can see what is going on. And here we go. So here is the app. So what will happen is in the coming, probably next week, we will probably start sending out the link to the app and to the so that you can begin going on there and taking a look at things. And once you're on, you'll be able to kind of explore and plan out your sessions and stuff like you would with the app previously. It is, again, you can also download it on your phone. So if your mobile device, look for the Attendify app, download it, and then search in there for CBI NSEMC 2020, and it'll pull up. So to begin, based on the registrations that you've sent in, you will have your email to log in. And I'm using a special account here for testing purposes. So I'm going to type in. And when you do this for the first time, it's going to ask you to set up a password. And it'll go through several steps. And then it'll send you email to the, send you a confirmation email to the email on file, to this email here that you see on the screen, or your email specifically, so not mine, so you don't have to worry about confirming through my email. And you go through this process like you would anytime setting up your profile and everything. And then once you're done, you'll, oh, well, that is not how it's supposed to, oh, might help if I type in the right email. There we go. Once you get in, log in, this is kind of going to be the screen that you're going to see. Okay. What you have here is what they call the town hall feature. And it is just basically the opening screen. You will see what live sessions are being presented down below. You have your activity stream where you can come in and you can type in and say, session stuff, or if you have questions or whatever else, or if you want to notify somebody, you can. And then you also see our community over here. And right now, this is only me in there, but it'll have everybody who's registered in this community for everybody to kind of message back and forth. Here you can see your individual activity stream. Again, it's the same activity stream that you would see on the town hall. And again, here's our community. And with this, I could come in here and I could direct message one of the other attendees as needed. So if John was in here and I wanted to send John a message, I could drop him a line and say, hey, John, hey, do you want to meet up for drinks later or virtual drinks later? And we could go from there. So that's kind of the start here, kind of the base. And again, it's this town hall that you will see as you come up, starting up. Over here on our left, drum roll, is our schedule. Now, I have a couple of test sessions going on here right now for us to kind of see what's happening. So one, we have our strategic planning. So this is just a link to the webinar we had a few weeks ago.
I'm Jessica. I'm the CBI events director.
Let me mute that. So, but this is what would happen traditionally, but you would see live sessions going on. And I've got a live session here going on it. So I'm streaming it from another browser, and I can come in here and join. I have feedback because I'm presenting in two places at once. Kind of creepy here, I know. But you can see the session going on, and you just jump in, and then you can interact. With that, if you look over here on the right-hand side of your screen, is session tab where you can come in and you can comment on the session. So if you've got a question for the presenter, because there's going to be some Q&A, you can come in here and so for you Monty Python fans, so this is you'd be able to jump in here, and then I could answer blue, no green, no, and if you know Holy Grail, you'll catch the reference here. So as most of y'all who know me know, I speak in movie quotes quite a bit, so this is par for the course. And then also you can see other community members who would be joining in on the session right now. So if Jessica was joining in, you would be able to see her here, and anybody else who is joining in, and y'all could converse back and forth about the session, and ask questions. If it's a round table, there may be some prompts be thrown in there, and then maybe the moderators would take them and say, okay, here, how about this? And so that's one of the things, and I'm getting freaked out looking at myself in the screen. So I'm gonna go back over here to the session earlier and proceed there. And I'm gonna mute it and play so you can see the session going there. And so you would be able to go through here on the schedule and see all the sessions that we have. And you can see the session that you're in stays there, and you can sit there and you can watch it and enjoy it while reviewing what's coming up later in the day. You can come here and just scroll down, and then if you want, you can come here and then, hey, this is tells you the session. It's going to give you the description of it, so you can look through there. It'll also give you who our speakers are. We are sort of adding some information to the site. So we have our speakers here. You can find them here. And eventually we will be able to pull up, and they will have their bios and everything else there. And for our special speakers, there will be their headshots, so you know who it is that you're looking at when they show up on screen. And then also, as you can see for the CBI directors, you can see all the sessions that we will be presenting. So if you were to come here, and you can also search for speakers, and I'm going to come here to myself, and you can see what sessions I am working on. And so you just say, hey, okay, that's the session I want to go to. And yeah, now one cool feature, and this is more specifically for the mobile app. So if you're on the app, you can bookmark sessions that you want to go to, so you can kind of plan out your schedule ahead of time. I don't think we can add bookmark sessions on here specifically yet through the desktop platform. So if you want to bookmark sessions, go into the app and bookmark it there. And so, before we proceed on, is there anybody have any questions or need me to kind of explain a little bit more of what I've kind of touched on already? Jessica.
We have a question in the chat about how easy is it for the presenter to see questions as they come in?
Okay, great question. So with that, I'm gonna change my screen here. Give me 1 second, because what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna go over to where I'm streaming from. Yes. And I want to come over. Nope. Here we go. So if you can see here, this is the sessions screen, and it looks just like similar to what you would see in the town hall. So over here, I have the chat. So again, if somebody were to jump in, they could ask the question, and as me as the presenter would be able to see. And this is the presenter screen here that you are seeing. When you come in, you will see, if you're a presenter, you're going to come in, and your sessions, when you log in, it's going to say at the top when it's getting close to your session, and it's going to ask you to enter a practice room. And you can go in, and over here on the left-hand side where it's kind of proceeding with the what I'm in, it'll give you a countdown to when your session is live. And as you can see here, hopefully, you see the on buttons for the video and for the microphone. And then you can also hear, I'm not going to do this right now to create big loops, but you can turn on the session share so that if you have a presentation, you have a PowerPoint you want to share, videos you can come in and click here, and it'll allow that to proceed. And then when you're done, you would just hit the leave session, and you would be able to proceed from there. And then you can also make this full screen, obviously, if you wanted to, when you're presenting on your end. And like I said, come in, you can see who's attending. But if you're presenting, you may be busy. But yeah, here's the session, and the newest questions, as you can see, is going to show up. So if I say, hey, again, there's the most recent question right there on top for you. What other questions do we have?
That's all I have so far.
All right. So I'm going to switch out of this. Oh.
One more question. There's a poll icon. What does that do?
The poll icon is if, I'm trying to best how to describe it. If CBI was to set up a poll with, I guess, questions about this on the session, or if there's more things that you would like to know, we can set up a poll, and you would come in and you can vote on the different answers. CBI would set up the poll on our end to present there for you. We good there? Any other questions? Okay. And while we're doing, I'm going to switch back to my original screen. One thing I will say is recommended from Attendify is they do recommend, for the most part, that you use Google Chrome for the app. That it tends to work best for the streaming features and stuff. You can use it on other browsers, but Chrome is the recommended browser for everyone. So if you have questions there, or if you have problems, might suggest looking at the browser in case there is a issue that comes up. Again, you have speakers here. You can look at the different bios when they are all presented. We have some sponsors here. So you can come here and look at the sponsors, and you get their contact information. You can click on, you can email them, go to their websites and visit those. And I know the sponsors would be greatly happy if you did that, and they would appreciate you taking a look at what they're doing. And then once you exit, so you can close out every night and log out and come in and out as you please. And the sessions will be there. Now, this is a question that has been asked a lot, so I want to go ahead and address this, is the sharing of the link for attendees and for your student stations. So there's two thoughts that CBI has been proceeding with. One is that you, as the primary registrants, would have your link into the platform. And so, as I went through earlier, when you logged in and you create a password, you could create a generic password and you could share the email. So I'm going to log out of this, for example. So if this was my station's email that we registered with, I would share this email and then share the generic password that I created, and then also share the link that we're going to send you here next week with your staff, and they can all log in at any time, any point, and there's no problems with multiple logins on the same email. I am currently logged in with this email on my mobile phone as well. So I'm logged in at a couple of different places, and it's not a problem. Now, the other way, and this is kind of up to you, is you can individually register your students, but for them to have direct access. But if you're going to have direct access, we need their emails as well. So I have my station manager and some of my people who would like to attend, so that they're not having to share the same information, and so they can come in and out. So if you had it in a classroom, or if you had it in a common area and you had it going and everybody's kind of watching as a group or whatever, socially distanced, of course, they would have the direct access and they can come in and out as they wish. But it's really up to you. But if you do have some student speakers, having their emails, with their registration and their emails, because they have to have their emails on file for them to be able to access the app and the platform. So does that make sense? Any questions there? I know that's something we've been getting a lot of.
There are some questions about like, if we use one email for all of the students, then will that create a problem? And I was just about to write back, like, we really recommend adding each student's individual email, especially because we've made the pricing so you don't pay by the person, you pay one time and then you can add as many people as you like. So that's what just to make it as easy, and then everybody has their own everything inside. That's what we recommend.
Right. That is, again, that's what I would recommend. But it is quite easy to, if you don't have any problems sharing your login, because I know some station managers have just logged in right now, or general managers or advisors have just registered with them right now. So I'm going to use John, for example. So if John just registered and he just put in his email, he could potentially use just his email, the created password, and then the link, and everybody could log in as well. But again, then you're having to share everything back and forth. If they all have their own individual emails, it's all up to them. They can create their own passwords, and they're free to come and go as they wish.
Stephen, can you talk about how or where we would enter those individual emails? Is that in the registration process, or if we've registered and want to add additional ones, how do we do that?
Yes, it is in the registration process. So if you have not completed the registration process at this time, yeah, when you add a guest, so your students add a guest, where it says email or member ID, just put in their email address. We'll be able to get it all here and put it into the system for them to be granted access. Now, if you've already registered and you did submit all the emails, or you want to add people or change people or whatever else, just email me at membership@askcbi.org. send me the names and their email addresses, and we can add them on the back end. I would suggest it's preferable to kind of do that, get everybody as much as you can. So we limit that, because don't want to be bogged down for days trying to get everybody's email in, and we'll get through them as fast as you can. If you've already registered and you need to add them, we will get those added. But if you can do that as much as you can on your end, you can. But also, if you've already registered, there's not a way for you to go back in and add the guests afterwards. So you would need to email me, and then I'll take care of it from there. Any other questions that we have so far?
I'm handling some questions in the chat.
Okay.
And so far there, just to clarify for everybody, there's not internal communities inside of this. It's one kind of meeting group. Everybody's in there together. If you want to talk to people specifically, the direct message stuff we showed at the beginning, that's kind of how you do that. And then for speakers and presenters who are asking about this, you'll get your own login stuff based on your speaker profile once we finish setting all those up. I'm still waiting for a bunch of people's bios and photos, and then so we can put them all in together. It's a lot easier to do them all at once. So probably either late this week or early next week, you'll get specific instructions on, you know, how to get there, how to get into your session. And every session will have a CBI board member in it to kind of troubleshoot, help you out, do kind of manage the chat if they need to, however, whatever they need, however you need help, you'll have the help you need.
Yes, and one thing with the those of you who are presenting it, if for some reason you're having trouble, we will get in there. Also, if you would like, I can meet with you and go through special logins for those of you who are presenting and just kind of walk you through it. We have some tutorials that'll walk you through the steps as well from Attendify, which is probably going to be much clearer than I can be on explaining what will happen. But it really, I tested it for the first time today. It was a very painless process to log in, jump in to the session. Biggest thing is just making sure your browsers are working, you got a good internet connection, all the standard stuff that you would normally have, and then you will be good to go. Any other questions we can answer you with? And I will say this also, just for, again, for the presenters, and then also for just anybody who's joining that for the first time, I would suggest once you get the link to the platform and everything is good, go ahead and get in there, test things out. Even Attendify suggests for those presenters to go in there at least a day early to make sure everything is working correctly for you. They have a practice room where you can literally go in and practice the session, work with your co-presenters and everything like that, then have any problems.
Right. So we have a board meeting tomorrow, and we're going to figure out kind of a schedule for that. And then all of the presenters, you'll get an email from me that says, hey, here's final information. Here's, if you want to check out Attendify next week with us, kind of the presenter side a little bit more, poke around in there. Here's the schedule of when we'll be available to do this. And then I just posted it in the chat. The session schedule is on the website, kind of in a list form. If you just want to read through it, kind of browse through. If you're not really ready to start bookmarking things in the app yet, I just put the link in and it's there. And then probably by the end of the week, the speaker page will be up with everybody's pictures and everything. So.
Hey, Jessica, could you go ahead and pull up on your computer the share screen and just go through the sessions?
I can try. Hang on.
Because this is the big reveal moment.
Okay, it says I'm screen sharing, so I'm assuming I am.
Yep.
And I guess you can see all the tabs I have open, so you can see my football bets are open. Great. So here's kind of the page and what it looks like. Wednesday, some of our special guests, Jeff Butera, he wrote a book and co-authored a book called Write Like You Talk. It's about, I'm not going to do this for everyone. That's just one that I really like. That's right at the top. It's Write Like You Talk. It's about kind of making a conversational rapport in your writing and avoiding some of the cliches that we cross out all the time on our students' copy and each other's copy. You know, when like every time I hear on the radio about things being on fire and they say the blaze, and it kills me because nobody says that. We've got some sales professionals talking about sales careers and why they're a good way to get into the business. We've got roundtables specifically for faculty. We've got attorneys to come talk about GMR, Ask the Broadcast Lawyers, special presentation on the history of college radio day, roundtables just like every year, TV video production, all kinds of topics. We've got a few roundtables that are just for student leaders. We've got a few roundtables that are just for advisors, and no roundtables will be recorded. Other sessions will be recorded so people can access them and watch them asynchronously through the app. If you didn't get a chance to see something because you had a class or you were teaching or your house was set ablaze or whatever, you can find it later. But if it's, the roundtables will not be recorded like that, because we've always treated our roundtables as kind of a safe space. You come in, you might be asking oddball questions, you might be asking stuff or talking about situations that are kind of private. And we want to be able to all give you the best advice we can. So that's a note on roundtables. We've got a senior producer from Westwood One to come talk about sports. We've got the instructor from Austin School of Film who teaches intro to podcasting. She'll be there to do a demo of, that's usually a 2-day course that she teaches, and she's condensing it for us for 1 day. We've got one about radio and TV pros who have been working remotely before the pandemic, since before we all had to. So they kind of know, they've been doing it longer than us. They know it a little better. And it's Millie from Turner Classic Movies. She programs TCM Underground, which is like the late night cult film part of Turner Classic Movies. And she's tons of fun to talk to. And Dana Schaefer, who's a producer for ABC News Radio. So we've got kind of a balance of TV and entertainment plus news and radio. Swag Show and Tell. So we have that Swag Swap Social every year. This year it'll be virtual. So you show us your stuff. We talk about how you got it. Kind of just like show and tell in school, but you know, with some Zoom and everything. And then sadly no bar, but you have your own home bar if you're ready for that. So that's pretty much Wednesday. Thursday, we've got more stuff about on-air, student music directors. We've got a big session Thursday that's this one, professional organizations and how they can help careers. And we've got people from all over NAHJ, Radio Advertising Bureau, in LGJA, and I might have one more person we're adding to that, I'm not sure yet. So that's a cool one. We've got one about radio archives with Catherine and our old friend Jennifer Waits from Radio Survivor. We've got finally one of our members from Cairo, Egypt. We've never been able to have them at a convention because kind of the travel situation, but we've got them this time. They're doing a presentation about a podcast that they did from their student newspaper. So how to add a podcast element to something kind of that's not a broadcast student media org. And this is probably the one I'm most excited about. I wrote about it in the newsletter. These are two of my favorite podcasts, and then one of my favorite alumni who does podcasts. But Reply All is a podcast about kind of mysteries on the internet, and You're Wrong About is a podcast about history. And both of those podcasts are very well researched. I have so many students who come to me who are like, I want to do a podcast. And then I say, what about? And they say, I don't know, we'll just talk about stuff. And I'm like, no, you won't. So this is a really great session that will show kind of how much goes on before you even turn on a microphone. And both of those podcasts are great. All three of those podcasts are great if you want to turn on, listen to one in the background while you're getting ready. So you'll have some cool questions to ask them. Then we've got a sales session with students. We've got vendor sessions from some of our longstanding guests like Eva from Spinatron. I've got some people coming from all from LA on TV production careers, people who work on Big Shot and Bull and wrote Last Man on Earth. So they'll be there Thursday afternoon. Having a roundtable about canceling problematic artists, another vendor session about the future of careers in radio. I know, I want to read all of them because they're all so great now. We've got some pros in news. Glenn Schuck, who comes almost every year, talking about how to cover breaking news during the pandemic and how, even though a lot of us stopped things that we do normally, the news doesn't stop. So they've been chugging it out just like the rest of us. Lisa's going to do a session about Slack. If you don't use Slack, you should. It's awesome. I don't work for them, but I use it and it's great. We've got Travis and David to do their session about paying artists and how to make sure we're doing that legally. A lot more people are webcasting than maybe were 10 months ago, so you want to make sure you know what's going on. We've got an audio feature story. She's at North Country Public Radio, which is North Country, New York. Because when I first read that, I was like, North Country, like where? And she's like, she's from North Carolina. So like I said, radio advisor roundtable, legal issues, another vendor session about FCC and online public files, a student-led panel about virtual events. John's doing Adobe Audition again. We've got our 50 ideas in 50 minutes for promotions that we do every year. That's always great. We have a special guest about broadcast antennas, roundtable, and then right there at the very end, our National Student Production Awards, and those will be presented. It'll be like a video presentation that you and all of your friends and family can watch. We won't do acceptances on that. It's not going to be like the Emmys. No robot is driving to your house to give you your award. Sorry, it's a little out of our budget. But that will be kind of the end and conclude it. And then I skipped over it, but every day has one session at 7 p.m. So the first day is the swag show and tell. Thursday is the membership meeting where we talk about kind of the business of behind the scenes of CBI. And then Friday is the Student Production Awards, and then we are wrapped. So it's there, it's exciting. I'm excited, but this is also the first time I've really gotten to share it with anybody, and I've been working on it for a few months. So this, if I sound really excited, that's why.
And something that was interesting as we were putting this together is dealing with all the different time zones. You know, because if we started very early, people on the West Coast just weren't going to be joining. And certainly as we move into the evening, that's a different concept. But then also working around students' class schedules to give them more opportunities. So I think it's fantastic. Any questions? Go ahead.
That is why we start at noon. So the earliest sessions every day it's noon East Coast time. So it'd be 9 a.m. on the West Coast, which, sorry, I know that's early for most people. But if we started much later, it would get to evening. So noon is the beginning. Then we've got sessions back to back. Each session will be programmed for 45 minutes to an hour. But there's time after, you know, usually we have to clear the room and get everybody out and get the new projector set up or the computer set up. We don't really have to do that this time. But just, you know, if you're having a great conversation and you go over a couple minutes, we're not going to come in and shut you down. So.
Any questions from anybody about anything that we've talked about? Stephen, a question then for you. Is there a deadline for registration? Obviously, we would advise getting registered as early as possible because you won't be able to test out some of the things until you get registered. Did Stephen just disappear? I think we lost him.
Jamie, the session review will be just the same, just like the other years in Attendify, where you can rate the sessions in the thing, in the app and say, oh, great session, 5 stars, or oh, I was just totally bored for an hour, 1 star. And then we're also going to bring back the big survey at the end where we send you an email to a link to give us a little more in-depth feedback, just because we've never done anything like this, but a whole lot of people have never done anything like this year.
Yeah, and we'd encourage you to be creative in how you use this. I know one of the days, it's during my management meeting time, and we're going to be doing one of the sessions as our management meeting. It might even, you know, some of the students in classes and stuff, opportunity for them as well. Well, I'm excited about it. As you can tell, there's been a lot of work put into this. So make sure you do have your calendars set for October 28th to 30th. Go ahead and get your registration done. Obviously, this is a funky year, and it may take a couple extra days if your department will help pay for any of this to get that process. So we really encourage you to get started on this. And then I look forward to seeing everybody at the end of the month on this. There is some very exciting guest speakers doing some sessions. You know, certainly some of us are zoomed out in certain areas, but that means we also get to bring in people from around the country and, truthfully, this time around the world from Cairo that otherwise we wouldn't be able to have. So absolutely fantastic. So
I second John's comments. I know that the board has been working extremely hard on putting this together, and I know that we have a lot of advisors in the call today. So it would be awesome if you could remind your students that we are trying to do some sessions that are student oriented, particularly regarding the awards ceremony. We're looking forward to just seeing everybody there. So it's definitely going to be great, even in a new format.
So, well, in the meantime, everybody continue to stay safe and sane with everything that's going on. And we look forward to seeing you on the app in just a couple of weeks. Thanks, everybody.